Hi, everyone. Welcome to the Web Lounge. Say hi in the chat. Say your name, where you're from, good morning, good afternoon, depending on where in the world you're tuning in from. My name is Malin Cornelia. I'm head of partnerships at Vev, and in today's Vev Lounge, we'll be covering our favorite Vev features. As some of you might have seen, I have a special guest, but unfortunately that guest couldn't come. So I had to invite someone else that you might have seen before. You may know them from onboarding. Oh, hi.
Hi, Malin.
How are you?
Pretty good, thanks. How are you?
I'm good. I'm so glad you could join me for this.
No worries. Glad to be here. Ooh, my hat is falling off, but that's okay.
Oh, okay. No,
No,
we're
just
just
kidding.
kidding. We're kidding.
Ooh.
Yeah.
Well,
Oh, was that awkward?
Is that awkward?
Did you
Ooh.
cringe? That's okay.
Yeah. So did I.
We are, for the next hour, going to entertain you with not our sock puppets. And also, why didn't you bring your hat? I told you specifically to bring your hat.
Yeah,
so
that was
people would
your only
recognize you.
requirement, actually. Just like, Tyrell, put on your hat. Got a bit carried away this morning because I'm actually supposed to be at a festival right now, but I forgot that when I said yes to this. So that's a little fun. I'm not sure if it's a fun fact, but yeah, so I put on this scarf and I was on my way here. I was like, no, Molly, you said to wear the hat.
Yeah.
But maybe next time. Or
Maybe
we can
next time.
Yeah.
Or we can have a separate Vev lounge with our sock puppets, because fun fact, everyone at Vev has their own sock puppet.
Yeah.
But I'm Malin. This is Taro, and we are going to walk you through Vev Lounge today. If you were here before, welcome back. If this is your first Vev Lounge is an hour where we share inspiration, we build in Vev. You can ask us any question that you might have. And today's topic is our favorite Vev features. So we're going to share our favorite Vev features. You can share your favorite Vev features. But we're not doing this alone. We have our special friend, as always, Lewis.
Hello.
Yay!
Hi, Louis.
Hi guys.
How
How are you all? I want to say
We're
that when you say
good.
we all have sock puppets, that's not true because I don't have one.
Well, you need to make one then.
I do need. I have to make one at home on my own. I'm away from the
Yeah.
office. So.
You do.
Maybe next time.
Should we do just like quick intros? Who you are, what you do at Vev.
Yes.
What does a day look like for you at Vev? Why are you here?
Why am I here? Well, because you asked. Kind of. No, but I'm super glad to be here. I currently work as a product manager here at Vev, but I started out as a customer success manager, sort of like also a product specialist. So I might have been working with some of you in the audience before, or I hope to see some familiar faces. Where I've been helping out clients, users all over to build cool stuff in Vev, basically.
And now you make the cool stuff.
Or yeah, help the team.
Don't be humble.
Yeah.
And Lewis, our product specialist.
So yeah, I'm a product specialist. So I've also done a few like onboarding. So a few people in the audience might recognize me from that. I basically teach people how to use Vev in different ways. So you might have seen me in different videos on Instagram Reels, in this webinar before if you've tuned in last time. And also I do like onboarding for new clients as well. So yeah, that's me.
Yeah. Awesome. So whether you're listening in live, you're watching this on demand, or just listening in the background, all of that is fine. It's just a casual, talkative space where hopefully you can learn a thing or two about Vev.
Yeah. But Malin, what do you do?
Yay!
I don't know if I missed that bit.
Oh.
Who are you and what do you do?
You would get
I was like kind of
You
avoiding the question. I was kind of avoiding the question. Well, I do a lot of things. Like I'm a potato. Like in Norway, we say you're a potato if you wear many hats. jack of all trades, master of none, but I do work on commercial projects in web. So everything from clients relationships to webinars to social media to partnerships, our partner and referral program, which I'll tell you more about later.
Can't wait.
Okay, so glad to see you guys in the audience tuning in. We've done the round of intros. Our next segment is what we call inspo. So we're hoping to get inspired and maybe inspire you as well. So the first question that I have to people in the audience, if you want to answer in the chat, is how do you get inspired? Like, where do you find inspiration when you're creating for the web? It's a genuine, curious question. I'm awaiting some replies here. Let's see.
Write it in the chat as well.
Because if you don't know where to go for your inspiration, I have a very good suggestion for you, and that's the web blog. If you haven't seen the web blog before, you definitely should. It's vev.design/blog. And we're specifically Muesli. Oh, we're big Muesli fans.
Yeah.
I think you did show me Muesli back in the day. That's
Yeah.
how I know about it.
Yeah.
If you don't have Muesli, it's the best Chrome extension.
I'm
Every day
also,
when you open a new tab.
Dribble, yes.
Yeah.
yes, I use Dribble quite a lot actually. When I have a look at some of the template stuff that we do for new templates, I get a lot of inspiration from Dribble. I think you did a Muesli inspired template once, didn't you, Tyrell?
Pardon, sorry, I was reading the comments here one more time.
You did a Muesli inspired template, didn't you?
Yeah.
A little while ago.
Yeah,
Cool.
true.
I did.
Ooh, I used a
Land.
website called Landbook to find inspiration.
Ooh, I haven't. I'm gonna write that down.
Timpanus.net/codrops. Ooh, this one is good.
I'm gonna have to write down these as notes. Oh, good.
The web blog, yes. Hi, Freddie. So happy to be here. Well, we're happy you're here.
Yeah.
Okay, so if you haven't checked out the web blog before, you definitely should. It's everything from web creation, inspiration, web design to more like philosophical, in the moment, like, like trendy topics about the industry that we're in, about no code. So definitely a thing or two to learn and get inspired by there. One of the most recent posts that we did was an inspirational post about 3D and web design. So maybe we want to show you that and just get a little inspired together.
Let's have a look. Let me share. If we can see. That's all working fine. There we go. So this is the 9 striking 3D website examples and how they're made, which I'm not quite sure how they're made, but in this blog they will tell you how they're made. If we're scrolling through, we won't go into obviously the nitty gritty on every single word that's in here, but essentially we're going to go through the different tools that we use or that can be used for making 3D elements, so like AutoCAD, Blender, SketchUp, and Vectory, if I'm saying that right. And then with the use of these elements or widgets or techniques, can also fake 3D styles, I guess. So like parallax, animated visuals. Not going to try to pronounce that. Fake dimensional scrolling, morphism, which I don't quite know what all of these things are. So I'm going to have to investigate some of these for myself.
English is not my first language, so I'm okay.
Yeah, I mean, that looks barely English, to be fair. So, so yeah, I'll look into that one. But yeah, we've also put in some really cool examples. So this Chirply one, which is connects brands with micro influencers for its AI powered marketplace. So some cool stuff on their homepage here with like all these like Twitters and birds and stuff like that, Instagram styles. And then there's some cool examples in here as well of like the animations of going through the different pages, but also we've included a link as well, so you can go directly on the webpage and have a look for yourself. And then this next one is Admire a Maze, and this is an e-commerce website, I believe, which has like this cool little bee hovering around. So there's a bit of interactivity in this as well, which is really cool. So you can see sort of a little example here of the bee sort of scrolling and moving around through the forest, which I think we can all agree that looks pretty cool. And then this one, which also features in the top, uplink.ai, modernizes bookkeeping through automation, but so maybe the subject matter is maybe a bit more financial, so not super exciting, but visually they've done a really good job with the 3D aspects of this, which is really cool. And then this one's a portfolio, I believe, from Peter Tarker, which you can see like all different 3D elements in here, like create like little tiny houses and 3D objects and charts and stuff like that. So, and this is what looks like to be animated as well. So some really cool visuals in this, and the colors are like really powerful and they pop, and it's very eye catching and appealing, I think. Don't know what you guys think.
Every time I see this, I just like get very impressed with what people are able to pull out of their brains.
Yeah, it's cool,
Like,
isn't it?
yeah, it's amazing.
Yeah,
It's crazy.
And I love the way it also interacts with the scrolls as well.
We got a question in the chat, Lewis, about how you would build that. And I think we could say that probably all of these are built in different ways. But if you want to do test out 3D in Vev, you definitely should. We do have a 3D element viewer that you can play around with. Put what's it called again? Those marks.
Those hotspots.
Hotspots.
Yeah.
And you can upload JLB files. So we might have time to build that out for you later just to show you. But yeah, definitely something that you can play around with in Bev.
Yeah, I think
Search for 3D
one. It's so I think with all the articles, it kind of gives you like oversight on how it's made. Obviously, not full technical, but this sort of little segment here saying showcasing stuff that he's worked on with frameworks like Next.js and animation software like Cinema 4D. So it gives you a kind of insight of how they've built it, but obviously not step by step because that would be quite a lot to go through. But if you're reading the article, you probably get more information how each website is achieved using different software, which is pretty insightful. And I think this is another one, which is like a digital resume or CV. So it kind of like scrolls through stuff that they are in their resume, I guess. So it gives them like free. Obviously, they do 3D. They can speak multiple languages, and giving an oversight. So it's a bit of a different way to tackle a resume, which definitely would catch potential employers' interest, I think, which is cool. As you're scrolling down the page, it has all these 3D elements coming in and out, which is really cool. And then this one is kind of like a carousel from, what would you call them, like a slideshow carousel where you can go through all the different pictures. So you can scroll through and it gives you like a highlight and information of each of the different pictures. And then you can view more information about projects, which is really cool. So this is from an architecture firm, I believe. But yeah, worth taking a look. And then, finally, another very similar to the one above, but this is another like sort of portfolio, giving more insights to obviously projects that they've worked on. And there's obviously like scroll animations as well. And they also have like a night and day mode, which I think is really cool. And then further down, you can see it's sort of panning around the different spots of the sort of 3D element that they have in there, which is really cool.
Johnston commented, I believe it's to the example above about with the carousel, like Vev's 3D carousel. And yes, that is true. You can play around with that, customize it, make it the way you like. It's super awesome. So search for the 3D carousel in the ad menu.
Yeah, it's a new one. So if you've been in Vev for a while, you may not have seen it yet. But yeah, it's definitely worth having a play with, which is really cool. Then this, I believe this is the oh no, there's two more. So this one here is kind of like a 3D and it's more interactive. So it kind of has like questions and answers where you answer questions about cats and it guides you through the answers. Best way of putting that, really. But yeah, it's a bit more of an interactive quiz, which is really cool, and is obviously using free elements as well. And then I think this is the last one. Yeah, SBS. So this is like a city. You can see all sort of different colors, and then when you click on different sections, it sort of shows you the interaction and gives more information about each of the different things, which is really cool and definitely puts things into a different dimension, which I think is really cool. Does anyone have
Nice.
any sort of insights on 3D or 3D websites, or if you know any cool 3D websites that you love, please do share them in the comments. That'd be really cool. Awesome. And then moving on, should we take a look at the? I'm not even
Let,
going to tend to pronounce that.
no,
Uh,
let's move into the juicy part of this Vev Lounge, which is our favorite features.
Yeah.
yeah, let's do it.
Um, and we had a little discussion prior to this call just to map out what's actually our favorite features in Vev. And so I guess we can just take the round, and I'll ask you first, Terrell, as our guest
Yeah.
and product manager. What is your favorite Vev feature?
Yeah. So when you ask this, it's sort of very easy to go to like the most like maybe exciting features that we have, like we talked about the 3D stuff, as we've been talking about before, the horizontal scroll, the scrolly telling, all of these things. But when I was thinking about it, I feel like maybe the ones that are in like a bit underrated or underappreciated are the add-on features. So for me, when I started thinking about the add-ons, I couldn't pick, but my two favorite must be sticky position and also show and hide. Yeah.
Okay, so let's show you guys how show and hide and sticky position works. And just like a question, when you say an add-on instead of a feature, how would you describe what an add-on is in Vev?
Yeah, so an add-on is sort of like an extra effect or a filter that you can add, hence the name, the add-on, to any element component. So it can be a whole section, but also individual images, frames, and basically anything that you have on the canvas. So yeah, you might have played around with scroll speed. We might later, but yeah, also filters, yeah, different things that you can play around with and add to the component, basically.
Awesome.
I'm just
So
going to
yeah,
jump in and
so
say
I
just before we jump into the thick of this, I'm just going to open up the Q&As now, just so after this, if people have questions that they want to ask, maybe about some of these features that we're looking at, we can go through them afterwards. So I'm just going to start that now. So if anyone has any questions, it should appear in a little window. Feel free to ask questions, obviously relating to this or anything about Vev. Fire away, Tara.
Perfect. So if you can just put this in preview so we can see it in action. So here I made two different examples to show the power of the show and hide. So here at the very top, we have a section with text and a button here where I wrote reveal as the call to action. So if you click it, boom, that here you can see that we are revealing something. And this is quite a feature, especially when I've been talking with clients and users. They want something like similar to this effect, and you can very easily make this and build your own experience with the show and hide. And also, as you can see here, you can close it with the button that you have in the upper right corner there. And also, if you scroll to the next section, there we have the image. You can also see that you can also build some sort of menu. So if you click the different menu items here, Lewis, the menu 2, menu 3, oops, let's see if it's, yeah, loading there. So you can easily have a nice transition between them. So this is sort of how you could make and build your own like little custom menu inside of Bev. So the trick with the show and hide, and for me, it sort of took a little bit of time to actually get how this works. But what we're basically doing is adding an add-on to the element that we want to animate. So in this case, for example, for the first option here that we have, what we're animating, the things that we are revealing, the image here with the text and the close button, that's the feature or the component that we want to attach the add-on to. So you can maybe show that. So here I've made a frame. Basically, I took an image, a text box, and then added another text box to create the close button at the very top corner there. I framed it all in one. And what is really important in Vev is that you create a unique name to components to be able to trigger animations. So here I called the one that I wanted to show and hide, depending on the interaction. I just called it show and hide elements, basically. You can call it whatever you want. It just needs to be something unique, not the default that is coming from the layer menu there, basically. And then to add an add-on, you need to click the puzzle icon at the very top there. When you click it, you will see that the add menu will automatically filter on the add-ons that we have. So here you will see the whole list of everything that we had and that you can attach as an add-on, and it will filter, I think, by popularity. So you will see that the show and hide is quite popular. You just click it. So you can select it, Louis. And then it gives you a form here where you can do some custom configurations to it. So here you can see that it will ask you, so do you want this element that we just attached this add-on to be shown by default? In the case that we were showing here, no, we do not want that to be shown by default. We want it to reveal itself once we trigger or click the button. So let's make sure to keep that one off. And then you will underneath here see that you need to select the show trigger. So what is the element that a user or the viewer of the page should interact with to reveal this element? I call the reveal button reveal. So there you have it. It's a text element that I designed to look like a button. So that's why it's a T there. But there you have it. So just make sure to click it. What is pretty cool here is that you can have multiple elements to trigger or show to trigger. So if you want to have more buttons, if you have other things that you want to be interactive to show this element, you can do that as well. Again, just make sure that you have given it a proper name in the menu there. And then at the very bottom, not at the very bottom, but almost to the bottom there, you will also need to add the hide triggers. So what do you want the user to click to hide this again? So it could just be clicking the whole element in itself, but here I just added a close button, hopefully to improve the UX of this, so it's easier to see how you actually remove it. Again, I just made a text box and called it close and added that as the close trigger. And then again, now at the very bottom, you will see the animation. So here we have a few options for you to choose from. Would you want it to fade in? So when you're revealing it or when you're hiding it? fade, slide left, slide right. Yeah, so there's a few options for you to play with there. So I just put when you click it, it slides up, and then when you want to close it, it slides down. So that is basically it.
It's definitely like a feature that you can become like you can be really creative with it
Yeah.
and create very interactive experiences. So it's just understanding that bit about how it actually works.
Yeah.
So that was a great
Yeah.
walkthrough.
And as you will see here, when you're designing, you would need to have the element to be shown. So you have to actually build it on top. But it might be easier, like going back and forth while you're building, to use the that one, yeah, toggle visibility. So it's easier to see the different layers that you have. Yeah. So very quickly going through the menu here. Again, done more or less the same. I made 3 different buttons. Again, I just chose a text tool, added some background around the corners and a little bit of drop shadows to make it look like a button. And then I added 3 different views built and stacked on top of each other. So this is where it really comes in handy to toggle off the visibility between the different, you will see here. So you can actually see one by one. Here again, it's super important to give unique names to the things that you want to trigger and attach the add-on to. So here, basically what I did, again, back to the logic, what is the element that we want to attach the add-on to? Yes, it's the cards at the bottom, because those are the ones that are changing when we're clicking the buttons. And here you can see a little bit differently from the one at the top. So the menu item 1, which is the first one that you see in view, there we have toggled show by default, because we want that to be shown like the first thing that you see once you enter that section. So that needs to be on. And then what's the trigger to turn it on? That's the menu item 1 button. And what's the show or hide, I mean. So that's when you click the other ones, you want this, what did I call it? Like little section or frame to hide when I click the item 2 and 3. And I just basically did that for all of them. Just make sure that menu item 2 and 3, they're hidden by default. And you trigger them on the respective buttons that they are supposed to be attached to. And then, again, quick tip here is once you go live, it's very important that you turn on the visibility for all the layers. If not, they will be hidden on the page itself. So, but the cool thing here is then when you go to preview, they will not look like this. It will look like it should behave, which I think is the cool part.
It's a good feature to have as your favorite, or add-on.
Yeah.
To have as your favorite. I'm excited to see everyone in the audience now utilizing, or if you're watching this on demand, testing the show and hide add-on.
Yeah.
Okay, so Lewis, you're up next.
I'm up next.
What's your favorite feature?
So my favorite feature is also an add-on, which is something that's like that. I don't see it get used enough. Maybe because people don't know what it can do. But my favorite is something called scroll speed. So essentially, what it does is it changes for a certain element. It changes the speed of which it scrolls. So if, for example, the page itself is scrolling at 100%, you could set something to scroll at 90%, so it would move it at a different speed than the rest of the page. So if you have a lot of cool like images or a lot of different elements, for example, in this example here, we've got lots of different pictures. So what it does, it creates this like really cool parallax effect. So if I hit preview, you can see as I'm scrolling, all of the different elements are moving at different speeds. And the cool thing about it is you can also make it, if you change it to, I think, over 100% value, it scrolls in the opposite direction. So you can see like these are moving up, these are moving down. So you can kind of get like a really cool sort of parallax effect in here. So if I, for example, go to like one of these pictures, let's click on me, for example.
Use you, for example. It's a
let's,
lot
let's use let's use Tyrrell, actually. I won't be so vain.
I love it. No, there's a lot of pretty vevers in there. Use you.
So if I take this and I click on the add-on to open this up, it simply just gives you an idea. All you need to do is enter a number. So if it's, for example, 18%, it'll run at 18% speed. So as you can see when I preview, this particular one is going very slowly compared to the rest of the page. If, for example, I then click me, you can see I've set this, to a minus value. So that means it will move in the opposite direction. So yeah, if it's below 0, it will then move the opposite direction. So you can have a loads of different elements like I've done here. And this is accessed the same way that Tyrrell mentioned for the add-ons for show hide, is you click on the puzzle piece and just find scroll speed in here. And then gives you a nice example of what everything's set as to 0 to 100 there. So if I go away and come back, it'll play that little animation in there. But yeah, that is my favorite feature. I think it's a cool one. I think more people should use it. Yeah,
It's definitely cool. And you made a really great example. I love it. There's a question here. How do you get some to go over text and others behind? Do you maybe have a quick note on that?
Yeah, so this is all managed via your layers here on the left-hand side. So, for example, here I've got 3 bits of text, which I have grouped together under one group. So if I move these will all move together. Then all these images, for example, I've got this one, which is sat underneath it, and then everything else is kind of above it. So all of these images are going to be sat above the text. But when I scroll this image, this will go beneath it. And it's all managed, based on the layers here on the left-hand side. So if, for example, I wanted Tyrrell to move and scroll underneath, or probably a bad example because it's going the other direction. Let's change this to minus 10, for example. So if I scroll that, move in the opposite direction. If I want this to go underneath instead of over, I would just simply move this image to sit below that there. Not in it. Oops. There we go. So it's now below it. So now if I preview, it will now go underneath it instead of over it. So yeah, nice and easy.
Yeah, good question.
That looks great.
Yeah. What's
my favorite feature?
Yeah.
Well, since you're asking, I think my favorite feature is the charts, and people are probably going to be like, "Why?" But
nerd.
I'm definitely not, but I just know how much work went into creating a great chart feature native in Vev. If you go to the add menu and write data viz, you might also see Flourish, which is a native integration that we also have, or a third-party integration where you can integrate data stories and data viz. I do think data viz is a great tool for any sort of content, whether it's about, like an article about something or a landing page or whatever it might be. It's very interactive. So the fact that we can do this natively in Vev is just one of my favorite things. So, Lewis, maybe you want to show quickly how people can utilize the charts that we have natively in our toolbox.
Yeah. So, for example, as well, just to give a sort of preview of what this looks like. So this is a chart element, and so is this as well. They will also, you can make them play little animations like that. So it just gives it a little bit of life. We're making a video at the moment about annual reports, which is going to dive into charts quite well, but also how you can build cool like annual reports like this. But with the chart element, you will obviously go into your add menu, search for charts, and then click and drag it onto the page. When you have it like this onto your canvas, all you need to do is double click it. And then in here, you'll have a variety of different settings you can select. So if, for example, I move this to the side, we can select a bar chart, we can select a line chart, something called a radar chart, which is what we saw at the beginning. And then you can also have a donut or pie chart, which you will need to tweak the settings a little bit. But with, for example, this radar chart, if we move over to the data tab now, in here we can go in and add our data. So this works just like a normal spreadsheet, like an Excel or anything like that. Obviously a lot more simple. So in here we can actually add new columns. So I can insert another column in and put walking, for example. Put some bogus numbers in there. 25, and then that will add onto the chart straight away. Don't need to refresh or anything like that. One thing you can do as well is if you have data, which a lot of people will have in Excel or anything like that, you can actually copy and paste the cells from Excel directly into here. So you can go where it says paste CSV content, copy it from Excel, and then paste it in here, and it will basically update the data in here with that information. So it makes it really easy to transfer your data from all your spreadsheets over into Vev without having to then type it in individually, which obviously would be very time consuming and boring. And moving on to styling, you'll then have options for example, on this one, we can, for each of the different charts that we've got, we can go in and change the color. For example, this walking one I've just added, we could make this, I don't know, let's make this like a dark red. And then the border color, we could make that red, but let's make that a little bit. Actually, let's make this one transparent, keeping in theme with the rest of it. There will be other settings as well, depending on which type of chart that you have. And then you've got axes, where you can play around with the different settings, like the minimum, maximum value, things like the grid color. You can add like ticks and numerical values and things like that. And then under legend, you can go in here and add and remove your legend, and then play around with like the fonts that appear at the top. And then finally, you have animation, which covers that little load animation. You don't have to have it load at the beginning, but if you do turn it on, it will play this little load animation. And you can also make it sort of like scroll and animate. So if you select the scroll animate, you can then, it basically like pins that position, and then you can decide how long you want to pin it for. So, which kind of nicely brings us into our next one, which is one of Tyrrell's other favorite features. I think you want to cover as well, wasn't it? Which is sticky position.
Yeah. Before you move on to sticky, I just want to say to the audience that I challenge you all to make a report with Vev charts about how good all of your Vev projects are doing at your work. Is it possible to build and animate 3D charts? Is a question from Julian in the chat.
I would say in Vev, you probably could, but you'd have to use a code editor, which might be quite complicated. We would recommend, which is why we have a Flourish API, to build stuff like that in Flourish. I'm not quite sure if it does 3D though, but more like sophisticated data visualization you can build in software like Flourish and embed it into your Vev project.
This it sounds like we need a separate Vev lounge on DataViz, Louis. Just cover
Maybe,
it.
yeah.
Do you want to quickly show sticky position as well, as it is our guest's favorite feature next to show and hide?
Yeah.
Yeah, here we go. So I'll let you talk through this one, Tyrrell.
Yeah. Sorry, got a little bit carried away there, so kind of forgot about it. But I was like, didn't I have another one? But yeah, cool. So you might or might not already be familiar with the pin position. But sticky position is what can you say, like a more advanced use of the pin. So on the right side there, or on the right side panel at the very top, you can see that any element you can pin to the page. So if you use the pin, it will, instead of having a fixed position on the page, it will get an absolute position instead. However, there's not really much that you can do in terms of how long it will stick and so on. So here you can show if we pin it at the very top, and if you preview, the cool thing you will see that it will stick all the way down to the very bottom of the page. And the pin position is super great if you want to create a burger menu, if you want to have a top bar that sticks there for the whole page, if you have a call to action and stick it at one of the edges of the canvas. That is also good for, let's say, book something that's going to be there at all times, but sometimes you do not want it to stick on the page for the whole scroll interaction. So that is where sticky position comes in handy. So here you will see Lewis demo how it works. So it will stick, but only for a certain amount of time. And again, this is an add-on that you, so instead of toggling on the right side there, it's used as an add-on, and it's called a sticky position. And it will have this little pin icon right next to it. And here you can see in the configurations, so where do you want it to stick? So if you just click it, you can Louis, yeah. So do you want it to stick when the distance to top is a certain height, or distance to the bottom? So in this case, we say then when the distance to the top is 50 pixels, it will then stick. So it will then always be 50 pixels from the very top of the screen. And then you can also choose which layer it should stick to. So in this case, we're choosing that it's sticking in front. It won't really matter in this case, but if you want it to stick for a further amount where there's more elements, you can then choose where in the layers it should stick. And if you close it, and also how long do you want it to stick. So you can choose until the bottom, so much like the pin, but you can also set a certain distance or when it reaches a certain element. So when you choose the distant one, it is then you then choose the pixel distance. But then instead, what I kind of think is cool is to the element. And here again, it's super important that you create or the element that you want it to stop sticking. You need to give it a unique name here as well. So you're sort of selecting it the same way as with the show and hide. And also here again, you can also choose the distance away from the element. So it doesn't need to be like squished right next to it, but you can actually have some breathing room in between there. So yeah, you just have a lot more configurations that you can use. It doesn't need to be sticking at the very top of the page. You can start it at the very middle. So there's a lot of cool things that you can play around with here. Yeah.
Awesome.
Nice. Okay, so for the remaining time, let's switch it up a little bit. And instead of directly your favorite feature, what's a feature that you don't think you could live without?
Yeah. Again, I feel like I want to be showing you guys cool things, but for me, the ones that I use the most are, or I think it's the link button, because it's so versatile, so easy to use, and it also have hover states on it. There's just so many things that you can do with it. So basically, what it is, the name link button, it's a button, pre-made button that we have that has links attached to it, or that you can attach to it. Again, as much as with the link add-on, we have anything can be made a link in Vev. That's important to say. You don't need to have this link button to link to something, but here we sort of added a button and the link add-on in one component, so it's just a little bit easier to play with. And here you can see the type. So you can either link to a page in the web project. You can link externally to another page. You can also link to an element, which I think is sort of like an anchoring effect that a lot of people are asking for. So if you want to link to either the bottom of the page, you might have a form there. You can then link to the last section or the footer that you have. But we also allow you to have email, phone, and also, which I think is also pretty cool, a file. So if, again, we talked a lot about reports. Some of you want maybe your users or viewer to download the report maybe as a PDF or another file type, then you can attach it here as a file to download. So they can have it offline as well.
Nice.
And also you can have different hover states. If you preview, you can see that you can play around with, as you can see here, some animation on it. These things can be easily edited with the right side panel. And yeah, you can write whatever you want. You can have the colors you want, borders. Yeah.
Love it.
Yeah.
Louis, we kind of have the same feature we wouldn't live without, didn't we, when we kind of discussed this
Yeah,
prior
so
to
I said shared styles and you said presets, which I guess a shared
Yeah.
style kind of falls under presets. So I will go.
It's for lazy people. No, I'm joking. It's not.
It's
It's the
saving
best.
time and efforts, I think.
Efficiently. Never do the same thing twice in
Exactly.
web.
So with shared styles, so I'll go through shared styles and then explain how you can do sort of apply presets to other things. So first of all, here's an example of some text which I've created. Maybe basically the way to say shared styles is, say you've got a project where you have a lot of different text boxes in it. So firstly, you go in and you style your first text box, and then you think, oh, I'm going to have to do this styling for every single text box in my project, and obviously that's going to be very time consuming and not fun to do at all. So one thing we've put in place is shared style. So here's an example with, I've created this text box here, which I've put some styling in. You can see I've put all my heading tags in there, paragraph, and I've even given it like a little green background as well, just to give a bit of extra style in there. But everything you do here on the right-hand side style panel, so the background colors, the text, the margin, padding, border radius, everything in here on the right-hand side will be saved. You can also do this per device. So if you decide on desktop, you've got a bigger font, and a mobile, you might want to scale it down. You can go into mobile and scale it down. Oh, a bad example to do that. Move that down a little bit. But for here, for example, I can make this H1 tag a bit smaller, so it's easier to see. And then if I go back onto desktop, this hasn't changed this parameter. Now, if I want to apply this to other text boxes, I can save this as a shared style. So here on the right hand side, above all of your different styling options, it will say style. And then here, if you select this drop down, you can have a look at all the different shared styles that may already be in your project. But if you want to create a new one, all you have to do is press this little plus icon and then give your shared style a name. So for this sake, we'll call this Bev Lounge. I'll give that a tick. And now this has saved this as a shared style we can use anywhere in our project. So when we create a new text box, or even if we just go to an existing text box like this one on the right hand side. So this here on the right is completely unstyled. It's basically when you create a new text box and assign your tags, it will look exactly like this. So if I now want to pull through the styling of this shared style on the left hand side, I would then go to my drop down, find Bev Lounge, which is the preset we've made, select that, and it will pull through the styling there. The height is set to auto. There we go. So we've got this styling in here now.
It's awesome.
And then what we can do as well is if we decide, I don't like this blue header, for example, instead of having to obviously go in and change each one of those text boxes, we can go in and maybe if we want to make that red, all we have to do to update it now and send it to the other style boxes is to press this little refresh icon next to that, and it'll update that style sheet, and everywhere it's being used will update as well dynamically. So that's shared styles. And then with something like, actually, let's put this back on. So with presets, this can be done on a variety of different add-ons and elements, which works kind of in the same way. So for example, if I have, if we go to animation and select this, at the very top here, you'll see it says no shared add-on preset. But for example, if I went in and created sort of an animation that I liked, maybe put a delay on it, changed the animation curve, made it scale as well, so it got bigger. So instead of having to then go into this every single time, I could save this as a preset. So here at the top here where the plus is, if I press this, I can then again give it a name. So we'll just call this animation default and then tick that. And then now that can be used in here. If I then create for example, an image block, and let's add Halit's lovely face in here. And then we can go in, add the animation, and then select it then from our drop down list there. And then that animation will then be used again. So you don't have to then go in and adjust the settings every time. You can create presets and obviously use shared styles as well, which is we really recommend building it into your workflow because it will save you a lot of time.
And I mean, this is just awesome. But I think one thing that all three of us had in common as well, which is similar or not similar, but I would say under the same category as shared style and presets, which will save your life. Like, I'm not a designer. Every time I make a web project, if I get a compliment on a web project I've made personally, they'll be like, "Oh, you're really good in web." But no, I'm just really good a copy pasta. And that is the most underrated web feature ever. It's copy paste. You can copy paste anything and it will keep all the properties, the fonts, the animations. It's awesome. Copy paste
Whole sections
from project to project in the same project.
So if we decided, we want to copy this entire section here, so including the text box, the image, and then the attachments that we've got. So that includes like, show hide, includes animation, includes sticky position, everything we showed today. So I can literally press Command C or Control C on Windows, and then Control or Command V. And then we literally have the same thing in here twice. And then you can, like Malin said, you can take it from project to project. So I could copy this, come out of this project, find another project I'm working on, and paste it in there, so that reusability is, across everything. And you can do this as well from the templates that we create. So if you like a certain feature or way something works in one of our templates, you can copy and paste it over from the template into your project as well.
That's a great tip, Lewis. That's awesome. I mean, when we were discussing our favorite features and also just thinking about our favorite features, there are more than these, but we just had to pick one for the sake of time. So if you quickly click the add menu, Lewis, some of the other features that we wanted to cover was the cursor tilt. Maybe if you have time yourself, you can look in and you can activate that. It was mouse parallax, hover gallery, 3D gallery. So there are so many features in Web that we would categorize as our favorites. We just had to pick for the sake of time, didn't we?
Yeah.
But
I will quickly show the 3D gallery because I believe somebody said that they wanted to see it.
Exactly.
So we can just click and drag it on. It'll animate, double click, and then in here you can go in and upload each of your individual photos. You can add a title, some text, and also a call to action button if you want. And then if you want to style any of this, you do it on the right hand side menu here. You can also change the spacing per device, which is, I think, is quite a nice feature. And if we preview, we can just see that we've got this nice 3D effect as we scroll through all these images.
And as ever, if you look in the add menu and look through the features and the components and the different things that you can create web projects with, and you don't see exactly what you would like to see, remember that we have our roadmap where you can submit all of your ideas. And so I think just for the sake of time, we'll do more web lounges in the future with more of our favorite features for sure. But for the next 10 minutes, we'll open the floor for an open mic. So if there are any questions or comments, or if the audience want to share their favorite web features, go for it.
Awesome. So yeah, no questions come through from earlier. So that's fine. If anyone has any questions, you can put them in the chat, or you can pop them into our Q&A box.
I popped in the roadmap link in the chat as well. So just if you ever want to submit an idea to us, that's a tool that you use.
Yeah.
Isn't it?
Yeah, that's where every day looking into the inbox there where we read what you guys want us to build and prioritize it from there.
Okay, so people in the room, what's your favorite web features? Shoot.
Far away.
Fire away. No one wants to share their favorite web features with us.
What's your
favorite upcoming feature?
Oh, that's what I was about to ask. Great minds think alike.
Yeah.
Hmm.
I'm gonna let Tyrell take this one because you are the product manager.
Yeah.
So you know what's coming, and you are allowed to say what you know what you're allowed to say.
Oh, no, but I can like the things
This is
that
a safe space, don't worry.
but I can or more. I don't work with the visual editors team that build out these features and so on. I work on the workflow and collaboration team, so we're just making it easier to work cross account, collaborate with your freelancers, with your content editors, your designers, and so on. It might not be super exciting, but we are revamping our roles and permissions, so it's making it easier and safer to share projects. I mean, and yeah, I think it's going to be.
That's very humble of you. That's definitely a good new exciting feature.
But it's maybe not like it's not like a 3D like for people to use. But I think you might not know it, but I think your lives are gonna be so much better after this. Like because it's this tiny things in your everyday life where you're like, why couldn't this just like be better? But yeah.
Julian commented, I'm still quite new to web, but the scrolly telling feature seems interesting. Yeah, the scrolly telling feature is great. We already have a couple of videos on it on our YouTube channel and our help desk. So I'll make sure to pop that link here in the chat. And then you can test it out.
Yeah.
It's awesome. Cool. Okay, we are on time. So if there are
hold on. We've got a quick question coming.
Oh, we did? Let's do it.
Yeah. Let's show it. So Julian has asked, what is the best way for somebody to learn how to use Vev? Are there any tutorials available? Yes, there are. I will maybe Loco should explain what's the best way to learn about Vev.
Well, if you are new to Vev, you might have seen this little fella alongside Noco in your inbox. But you will get them in your inbox every day for a week, where we go through basically best practices how to get started with Vev. But everything is also listed on our YouTube channel. So you sent the link right now. Yeah, and we also have our own website where everything is listed with descriptions and so on. Also, our previous webinars and also the ones that we're having now are also going live on YouTube, I believe. Yeah. So there we also on YouTube have more like live builds. And I also know that you are working on something exciting, Lewis.
Yeah, so like I mentioned earlier, I've worked on a video which hopefully will be coming out very soon about how to build annual reports, which is part of a new video series where I'll be diving in how to like build on specific use cases, so annual reports, like interactive websites and things like that. And also we have for very like quick digestible pieces of content. On our Instagram, we have our Instagram Reels, where they're like 1 minute videos of just going through a feature in Vev. They're really easy to follow, and they're just like information at you very quickly. And then finally, we also have help.vev.design, which is it's like our knowledge base. So if there's a specific feature you want to get more information about, you can go onto there. Let me just get the link and put it in the chat.
Put the link in there. So put the link for our help center, our YouTube channel, and Loco and Noco, your favorite sock puppets who'll teach you everything about how to use Vev. So keep an eye out on our social media and on all of our channels to see the great video content that is coming and the tutorials that Louis and more people are making. Before we close the lounge today, it was great having you all here in the room. If you're listening to this on demand, we hope to see you live next time. Thank you so much to Tyrell, our guest, who joined us today to talk about our favorite features. And I'm just going to do a shameless asking for a favor here at the very end. Vev did very excitingly launch on Product Hunt yesterday. So I am pasting the link to our Product Hunt launch. Yay. Maybe you want to have a look at it. Maybe you want to upvote. Maybe you want to comment. Who knows? It's there for your convenience. So
you should upvote.
Definitely should upvote.
But that would help us out quite a lot.
Yeah,
so.
That would be very supportive.
Yeah.
So thank you all for coming, and see you in 2 weeks for a very exciting Vev Lounge with a very special guest. So stay tuned for our next Vev Lounges.
Awesome. Enjoy, everyone. Take care. Bye-bye.